Emma and Jake had been dating for a few months and loved exploring new places together. One autumn evening, Jake came up with an idea to spice things up: visit an old abandoned house on the outskirts of town. The place was infamous for its eerie history. Locals called it the Hollow House, and everyone had a creepy story to tell about it. Excited for a thrilling night, they drove out to the old mansion. The sky was overcast, with the moon occasionally peeking through the dark clouds. The house looked ominous, its silhouette casting long, dark shadows across the overgrown lawn. The windows were shattered, and the front porch creaked as if whispering warnings to anyone who dared to step closer. "Are you sure about this, Jake?" Emma asked, clutching his hand a little tighter. "Come on, Em. It'll be fun. We'll be in and out in no time," Jake replied with a playful grin, trying to sound brave even though he felt a chill run down his spine. They stepped onto the porch, and the wooden boards creaked loudly under their feet. As they opened the front door, it groaned like it hadn't been moved in years. Inside, the air was stale, filled with the scent of mold and dampness. Dust coated everything, and cobwebs hung from the ceiling like old, ghostly drapes. They clicked on their flashlights and started exploring. The house had an unsettling stillness, like it was holding its breath. The rooms were cluttered with old furniture and faded wallpaper peeled off the walls. There was something almost sad about the place, as if it had been left in a hurry, frozen in time. Jake was leading the way, making jokes to ease the tension, when they heard a faint, rhythmic tapping sound coming from upstairs. It was soft but constant, like someone tapping their nails against a wooden surface. Emma's grip on his arm tightened. "Did you hear that?" she whispered, her eyes wide. "It's probably just the wind or something," Jake said, though he wasn't so sure himself. Against Emma's better judgment, Jake convinced her to check it out. They crept up the creaky staircase, their flashlights casting eerie shadows on the walls. When they reached the top, the tapping suddenly stopped. The silence was so thick it was almost suffocating. They found themselves standing in a narrow hallway with several closed doors. At the end of the hall, one door was slightly ajar, a flicker of movement visible in the darkness beyond. Slowly, they approached, their footsteps barely making a sound on the dusty wooden floor. As they neared the door, they noticed something odd. The air was colder, as if they had just walked into a refrigerator. Jake pushed the door open, and inside was a small room with a single rocking chair. It was gently swaying back and forth, even though there was no breeze. Emma's heart skipped a beat. She was about to tell Jake they should leave, but then she noticed a small, old-fashioned music box sitting on a dusty table beside the chair. "What is that doing here?" Jake asked, reaching out to touch it. As soon as he picked it up, the music box started playing a soft, haunting melody on its own. Emma stepped back, her pulse racing. "Jake, put it down. This isn't funny." "I didn't do anything. It just started," Jake began, but then they heard it, the unmistakable sound of footsteps coming up the stairs behind them. Heavy, deliberate footsteps, as if someone was dragging their feet, getting closer and closer. Emma and Jake spun around, pointing their flashlights down the dark hallway. There was no one there, but the footsteps continued, slow and steady, echoing louder with each step. Emma's eyes welled up with tears of fear. "Jake, we need to leave. Now," she said, her voice shaking. Jake nodded, but before they could move, the footsteps stopped right outside the room, just beyond the doorway. The air grew even colder, and for a moment it felt like time itself had frozen. Then, from the darkness, a voice, soft and childlike, whispered, "Why are you here?" Emma screamed and grabbed Jake's arm, yanking him toward the stairs. They bolted down the hallway, stumbling over each other, the music box's haunting tune following them as they ran.